Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Big Four podcast. My name is Luke Spring, and I'm with the usual Brian, Nick, and Andrew. How are y'all lads doing tonight?
Horrific.
Pretty
Victory
good.
Monday.
Oh yeah.
Victory Monday. Yeah, Victory Monday. Good win by the Pats. We'll get to that later. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about. A lot going on in both the NFL and NBA, with free agency or I guess trades. When were they allowed to? 5
Noon.
p.m. today?
I think
Oh,
noon
noon.
today.
That was later. But anyways, bunch of Woj bombs
Pretty
today.
close.
Bunch of games on Sunday. Monday night game, Vikings, Bears. Literally no one cares, so we're not going to talk about that
He's
at all.
And-
from Thielen to win my league.
And we're your number 2 source for all things
We
sports.
are
If you know.
If you know, you know.
And follow us on the Big
follow us
Four
on,
underscore podcast on Twitter. and
on
Instagram.
Instagram and Twitter. There you go, Nick. But yeah, first we're going to talk about the Patch, who beat the Ravens in
Great game.
Hurricane Katrina last night.
Raingate.
That was honestly
It
that was
so funny.
because-
Right as
It
they
was
take the
unbelievable.
field on their last drive, it just like turns to absolute
It
storm
was
force.
unbelievable.
Insane. Like the players, like we dropped 10 in coverage. Literally, we were just like,
No, I know.
don't let them go anywhere. And the Baltimore receivers
Well, and
weren't
then
going
Lamar
anywhere
had that like
either.
25-yard run,
Yeah,
which
for
was
the
kind of
holding.
annoying too.
Except yeah, it was just funny. Like nobody could do anything. Ball went through the guy's hands. Oh, it's great. Great to see. Love it.
Except for Jacoby Myers, the freaking
Jacoby
goat.
Myers, freaking maybe
He's
all
I
awesome.
didn't know. I
all
didn't know
pro
he was a
wide
high school
receiver.
quarterback. I did not know that.
Yeah. The more
Of
you know.
course, it's a Patriots receiver that didn't play wide receiver. That's what we.
That is true.
Two
Like
dimensional.
Hogan played
Hogan was
lacrosse.
lacrosse,
Edelman was a
Edelman
college
was
quarterback. Jacoby Myers was a high school quarterback. Like,
They all played. They all did
what's
track
next?
at some point.
They're gonna,
Gunner went to like Division III, Baja
Yeah,
Lockermopolis
the next-
State or whatever.
the next Patriots receiver is going to be 7 foot 350 pound lineman in college. They're just going to draft
and then our
like,
one real receiver is the worst one.
who Demir Bird or N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry. Yeah. Well, he's always injured.
Yeah, he hasn't. He did. I didn't
even
I
realize
think
he played
I
yesterday.
think it
Wait,
took
he did?
me.
He was,
I think
Yeah.
it took me until the
I do
third
remember-
quarter.
yeah,
I think
okay.
it took me until the third quarter to actually figure out that
All he
he
did was,
in
like,
the game.
He ran in motion and just went like behind, like just kind of looped behind and just stood there like so many times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But after
Yeah.
that game, honestly, I know we all were ripping on Cam last week.
He did
On
look good.
Thursday, he looked fine. I mean, again, he can't pass the ball. There were
No.
bad conditions, but that's not what they really want him to do.
Damien
And I'm kind
Harris.
of
Damien
now,
Harris, man, I love.
I'm
this. I
now
love
kind of leaning towards what Nick was saying about keep him on if they want to draft a quarterback because I like the way.
Oh, thank you.
Cam
It
isn't.
changes each week. They could
So he's
lose the next
no,
7
no,
weeks.
I know, I know, but hear me out. It's not about his ability. It's about how he brings them together. Like he looks so
They all love
happy
him.
playing
They
there.
all
I know,
love
and
him.
everyone.
Everyone
he's
has
definitely
nothing-
a leader.
When Brady was
Leonard.
on Brady was on the Patriots, yeah, people still had good things to say about him, but it was the same guys. It was Edelman, it was Gronk. I mean, and then the other guys that said good things about him, like it was forced. With Cam Newton, everyone loves him. Everyone on
Yeah.
the Patriots, the roster, they love him. He's got nicknames for everybody. They all have a good
Berkey.
time. When he scores a touchdown, they gather together. They do a
Dollar,
little
dollar, bill,
celebration
bill.
for the camera. It's
Yeah, it's
they all love
authentic.
him. Yeah,
Dirty
and I
Dave.
like him. I like
Dirty
him.
Dave.
His
the
talent
trenches.
might not be there, but he is a good human being. So we'll give
Yeah.
him that.
Like he would be. I feel like he would be a good coach someday. Like he could coach. I mean, I don't
Next
know
week.
what
be
he
a
would
good
coach.
like he would be like a
But-
good strength and conditioning coach who just like gets everyone hyped up
That's true.
or a mascot. I can see that.
with his hats. What was
Yeah.
that lampshade he had on his head?
Oh my
yesterday?
god.
Jeez.
Oh no.
That was-
Lampshade.
But once
that
again,
was something else.
what are they now? 4 and 5.
Yeah,
Another
4 and
5,
They're
yeah.
still in like that weird spot
Well, because
where
Miami can't stop winning. It's ridiculous.
I
well,
called
they're
it.
also
Bro,
playing.
Their
okay.
defense
We're
is
on-
Their
insane.
defense is unbelievable.
Like they
Tua's
are
good
putting
too.
Tua in such good
I
spots.
know.
Like
They
yeah,
blocked the
Tua's
punt and they're up.
executing. Just like, but you can't. Like I could go in a
I feel so
quarterback
bad
and
for
score
Herbert.
a
The
1-yard
thing
touchdown.
about Tua that I got to give Tua credit for is that he doesn't turn the ball over. And a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
QBs
true.
get themselves, a lot
Except-
of young QBs, even with great defenses, get themselves stuck in positions where defense makes a great play, big interception, maybe in the red zone, the QB gives it right back. Like Tua's not doing that. I mean, I am going to note, when I've watched Tua, there have been a couple like Madden rookie mode drops on the defensive end that he's thrown that should have got intercepted. But Tua's been he's the main thing that I like about Tua is that he's preached ball security, and that's keeping the offense rolling. They're getting first downs, and they're not doing it with surprisingly good offensive weapons. So I mean, I guess I got to give my hats off to Tua. But more important, when you get in the situation, it's all B-Flow, all Brian Flores. You got to give your hats off to that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, he was a defensive coordinator, and there's no shock that his defense is what's keeping them in games.
Yeah. I mean, his defense did hold the highest scoring offense to 3 points in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's what you like to see. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
No, but on the flip side of that game, I feel so bad for Herbert because he just can't get a win.
I know, poor guy.
He's playing so well, but he can't get a win.
Well, Herbert, I mean, he played well yesterday, but it got down to the wire where they're throwing the ball every possession. That's why he threw a lot of passing yards. But he did have a big interception that he threw that,
Agreed.
Like Josh Allen.
But like, I'm not going to rip his head off for it. Like I would for like anybody should for any other quarterback. That shouldn't happen. No one should get their head ripped off for throwing an interception. So I'm gonna give Herbert this one because look, he's been great all year. He just made one mistake, and that kind of thing happens. You get mad about it, but you move on, and he's a starter next week. That is what it is.
Yeah, but Brian mentioned Josh Allen, and we all know what happened in that game. Was that the best? Also, Nick,
no, the best game was Seahawks Cardinals.
No, I wasn't. I was gonna say,
Best
is that
catch?
the best? No. Is that the best Hail Mary we've ever seen? Like execution, the catch, the throw, everything.
I think it's the best,
No.
and solely because there were 3 people
He
around him.
moshed 3 guys.
Yes.
Like the Rogers one to
Rogers to Richard Rogers. Rogers to Rogers.
that one was
Okay, but
good.
he was-
Are you talking Rogers?
yeah,
Are you talking
but
Rogers to
Richard
Janice?
Rogers.
Janice or I don't
And
know, whatever
okay,
one that
no,
was in
playoffs.
Arizona.
So
Yeah,
here's the
Janice.
difference. Here's the difference between those and
It
D
just
Hop.
kind of landed in his lap. D
Yes,
Hop
exactly. D Hop went up
high-pointed
for
everyone.
it. He also had a defender in front of him.
So is that a better
With
catch?
Janice and
Yeah,
Richard
that's-
Rogers,
So that's a better
They-
catch.
with Richard Rogers, he jumped back and caught it,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, so I'm
fell into a defender. Same
Right.
thing with Janice. That's why I'm thinking that DeAndre Hopkins catch
Oh
with
yeah,
3
yeah,
people
yeah.
around him, a person in front of him, he has to go up and high point it.
Right.
That's probably the best Hail Mary
of
I've ever
course.
seen.
No, that's the best catch on a Hail Mary. I think Rogers was a lot better because he escaped the rush. He's back like 20 yards downfield, then he crow hops 60-yard Hail Mary, and Richard Rogers is like the only guy there. They obviously the ball's in the air long enough that everyone kind of goes over, but it was just a good throw and it was a great throw. I mean, a Hail Mary's a Hail Mary. It's a great play no matter what. And
Also, Nick,
I'm not going to tell you one Hail Mary stinks or one Hail Mary is really good because a Hail Mary, it's a game winner. So
Yeah.
Nick, I love how
They're all great.
I won against you in
Oh,
fantasy
yeah, the
because of
Ravens
that
deal.
play. No,
You know what?
Well, you can blame it on
I'm
the
sitting
Ravens D,
pretty
but you
'cause
could
the
also
Pats won.
blame it
I
on
lost almost-
Kyler Murray because
I lost-
if he didn't throw that,
or
then
blame it on Nick Chubb because he ran out the 1 yard line. He was a nice starter.
So
Right?
Did you
So
see the
we
video
can
of the guy who had like an over? He bet something on the
Yes.
like total
the
points.
spread was 3.5, and they won by
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, I know.
Brutal.
That was
Yeah.
so funny.
Oh, that's so tough.
Well,
That is so
and then
tough.
Portnoy
you know
betting
what?
on the Bills.
if the Patriots lost and I lost fantasy, I wouldn't be a happy camper today. But the Patriots won, so I have no reason to be upset. I could care less about fantasy at this
Yeah.
point. The
No, I
Patriots
know,
win.
but
I mean,
That's
hey,
tough.
it's a bonus for me. Pats win. Looking to take down Brian. Step into second place. Remember when you guys laughed at me for being in
no,
last place?
you wouldn't be in second.
Well, he was in. No, hold on. Let me
you were
rephrase.
winning.
Andrew wasn't.
Yeah.
Andrew, you were in last place because Devonta Adams missed like 3 games early on in the year, and Dalvin Cook also missed a game. So that's why
Yep.
you were in last place. Let's be really clear with that. Your
Yeah,
team
no,
was
my
always.
team's
All our teams are
nasty.
good, but with me, my best player's been out, and now he's sitting out again this next week because he can't get the bruise off his GD rib. It's ridiculous, and so Christian
speaking of
McCaffrey's going to be
ribs,
out again.
How about
Drew
Drew
Brees.
Brees? That's just
Collapsed
so,
lung.
yeah.
30-30
tough.
season. Jameis Winston, he's gonna do it again.
God.
Trust me. With
yeah.
a short,
If
with a
only
short
he had the time.
I
No,
think.
Carson Wentz could.
Look, if
honestly.
you're New
No,
Orleans,
did he?
No,
what did he
he's
do?
gonna get
yesterday?
most of it.
I
get
don't
the-
know.
I don't. He didn't do anything.
Oh wait,
I
did they?
love
They didn't
Philly.
play, did they? No,
Yeah, they played the
lost.
Oh, they
Giants
did.
and
They
they
played against the
lost.
Giants.
if
They
you're,
lost the
if
game.
you're,
Looking at this
That
Well, he threw
Entire-
zero.
Payton.
He threw
Oh,
0
0,
touchdowns and 0
208.
picks.
Yeah, that entire division has
Chips.
one more win than
Oh,
the
but he
Pittsburgh
fumbled
Steelers.
twice, but he didn't lose.
That's
them.
crazy.
I
The
think if you're
Pittsburgh Steelers have one less win than the entire NFC East.
I think if you're New Orleans, you got like, in my opinion, Alvin Kamara is the best or one of the best
He's been
running
carrying
backs in
the
the league,
offense.
and he's insane. So I mean, I swear, him and Travis Kelce every week I play against them in some kind of fantasy league that I care about. It's annoying.
I watched.
Every single week I play against them in at least one league. It's unbelievable.
I don't
And
get
every
the
single
NFL
week, Alvin
sometimes.
Kamara is like 30 points, and I'm at 30 points every time in fantasy, and I get my butt kicked, and it's the
Ready?
most
I
frustrating thing.
don't get the NFL sometimes. How when I was watching, well, I wasn't watching the Saints game exclusively. It just popped up on Red Zone a few times, but I feel like all of Kamara only had 2 touchdowns, right?
3.
3. I feel like
15 yards.
at least 2 of them, the goal line ones, he was wide open. How do you do that?
Ones.
How do you leave
Yeah.
Kamara wide open? Like, how do you leave someone?
He
I don't
just
get.
he just
Because
jogged
the
into the end
Niners,
zone.
because the team, it just gets.
It makes no
He ca-
sense.
What made me annoying was the one week where he caught like 20 balls. I'm like, dude, you're a running back. Drew Brees, throw it to your wide receivers. Like, you know what?
can't.
If I
He
was,
doesn't
if I
have
was a
that
Saints fan, I
ability
would have been
anymore.
rooting for them to throw it to Kamara. But as a fantasy owner, watching like my opponent put up 46 points against me, it was infuriating to see him get 13 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns as a running back.
Well,
Yes,
yeah.
he is the
but-
definition of a flex.
But in other sorts about the NFL, can we please first say that I know you guys disagreed with me a few weeks ago, but it's frickin' Patrick Mahomes for MVP. Russell Wilson
Honestly?
can't have games like that.
Okay,
Again,
So 2 in a row.
he
there.
can't do that.
I think Mahomes is the MVP. I feel like if he did play a whole season and played at his elite level, I don't think he's going to get it, but he would have a chance. Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, but he missed time, and it's really hard to get it as a running back. Like, you
Exactly.
have
That's
to
why.
go
That's why I'm saying
off.
Mahomes is going to get it. But if he played a full season healthy like that, he would have given himself a chance.
Let me
I
vouch.
think Mahomes would have won no matter what.
Let me vouch
Yeah.
for Russell Wilson, if I may, real quick.
Ugh.
What in the
Nine
NBA we
fantasy
talk about
points.
is all we talk about is the most valuable player is the most valuable to your team. Without Russell Wilson, they wouldn't win a game. They have the worst defense in the league. Their offensive line stinks. Their backup quarterback is a nobody. Without Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs can still win games. They've done it before. They got one of the best receiver cores in the game. Offensive line's great. Defense is much, much better than the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, if Russ can somehow kick it into second gear like he was in the start of the year to end the season, I would definitely say Russ is the MVP, especially if he leads the Seahawks to a playoff appearance in that tough division.
Well,
I
he's
mean, with
going
that
to. They're
defense-
going to make the
with
playoffs.
that defense,
With the
if they win the-
expanded
if they
playoff
win the
roster.
division- If they
Oh,
win the division, they win the division in that division against the schedule they have to face, the tough NFC. They got to play all those teams. Like I said, with that terrible defense. I mean, and he gets to 50 touchdowns. I think we might have a different conversation.
50's a
much,
stretch
I don't
at
see him
this
winning the
point.
division anymore.
a much competitive
Yeah.
conversation.
Thursday
But
is a
If they
must
lose
win.
Thursday, I think
I just
Thursday's
think
a must
Mahomes-
win.
they might not even be a playoff team.
Mahomes is cruising.
With
but
the
I'm gonna-
expanded
I mean,
playoffs,
he had
I
one-
think they are.
Mahomes is cruising. Russell Wilson had like 2 bad starts in a row. Well, 2 bad starts in a row by his standards, definitely. And
Well, by anyone's standards, did you see that
Well, not by
that
Cam
second
Newton's
interception?
standards.
Did you see that interception he threw in the end zone? He had 15 yards of green field. He could have just
I
ran.
get it. I get it. Okay,
That
it was
was
a bad,
bad.
bad throw. Whatever. We can single out all the bad throws that Russell Wilson's ever made. But I'm just saying, like, let's give this guy a chance. Give this guy a couple of weeks to get it back into high gear. If he doesn't do it, he doesn't do it. But
No,
I
I
think
know, but-
he's the thread that holds this team together. He's the LeBron James of this Los Angeles Lakers. They have all the weapons, but they just stink without him.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
I know,
it's
but
what it is.
it's like I said last week. When
They
you're
won't win without him.
fighting, when
The
you're
Chiefs can win without
fighting,
Mahomes.
when you're fighting for an MVP award against Patrick Mahomes, you can't have bad games. You have to
We'll
have
see.
all 16 of your games be close to perfect because that's what Mahomes is going to do. So
We'll
if
see.
you're
I
fighting-
think Wilson has a chance to make it close. It's going to be tough, but he's got to get in the high gear in the remainder of the season if he wants a
He
chance.
needs to play perfect through.
He's
the
got to
rest
get
of
to
the
a
year.
minimum 50 touchdowns or a win out and win the
it's going to be
division.
so hard to do. He's going to
he's
have
gotta
to
do
throw
one
4
or
a
two.
game pretty much.
He's either going to have to go 13-3 to end the season or win out and win the, or was it 13-3 or
Yeah, they're
they
6
went
and
out
3
their
right
total.
now.
yeah. So they have to win out, finish 13-3, and win the division, or somehow find a way to win the division and throw like 50 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then he might have a shot.
Yeah, because right now he has 32 left to get to 50, and he only has 6 games to do it. That's a lot of touchdowns. That's more than 4 a game. Or no, it is. I don't know.
They have 7 games left.
Math is hard. They have 7 games left.
Math is
Yeah,
hard.
well, they've
Yeah,
played
math
9,
is
right?
hard.
We should make that a T-shirt.
What math is
Math
hard?
is
So yeah, it is
Says
more
why not?
than
Hard.
4. It is more
Big
than 4 a game.
block
But yeah,
white letters.
anyways.
Yeah, that'll be
Um,
tough.
yeah, regardless, that is what we have for this week's NFL. Next week, the Thursday night game, since we record our episodes, we could technically, so we talked about this off air, but not a ton. We could technically do our picks because we're probably going to record before that game.
We can do
Or
that
do
one
we wanna
pick
do 'em
tonight.
Do we want to
So
do
then
that
save
now?
save the
or-
Sunday pick. Yeah, we can do it today and then save the 2 Sunday picks
Yeah.
for
Okay,
Just,
fine.
just in case we don't.
Fine. Week 15 of the weekly stat selections. We have the game
Quick update?
quick score
Yeah.
update.
Big
and
update.
big update. Nick, or so we have Brian and Andrew. Brian got a fat 0. Tough bid for him last week.
No, I got one for
Um,
JT top
you
5.
got- Well, you got
Oh,
one
yeah,
for
one.
JT,
Thomas
and
got
you
top 5.
also got the Cardinals pick, right?
Yeah.
So what are you saying,
um,
fat goose egg? Well, what's this nonsense?
No, I said Andrew.
Oh, Andrew. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew got a zip. What was the third
yeah, 'cause
pick?
He said Bryson, Bills, and Seahawks. We all said
Oh,
Seahawks.
we all picked the Seahawks. That's right.
Yeah.
every
But
week.
Brian and Andrew are now tied in last place with 18 points.
Oh,
jumps up-
second place, baby!
Nick
Just
jumps,
like
you got the
that.
3.
yeah, Nick
'cause
jumps
you
up
got the
huge
soul.
for the 3 with 21.
I picked the one guy in a 70 man, was it 100 and something man field, 80, 90 man field to win
Well,
the
you were-
tournament.
You
I
picked
picked
the
him.
world number 1, bud.
Listen, you picked a guy that was heavily favored. He didn't even make the top 20.
Well, yeah, because he's trash.
You know what? That's worth 3 points. I mean, sorry.
Yep. And then
You
yeah.
won.
So we're gonna do our first one, which is the Thursday night game, Cardinals Seahawks. I don't know who we'll just start with Nick. Why not? Nick, you can start.
I'm gonna go with. Look, I think I am gonna stick with the Seahawks again for the third time. Third time's a charm. I think they're gonna get the win this time.
That's what I
think
said
they're gonna-
about
I think
everyone
the Car-
placing against the Steelers.
I think the Cardinals are gonna overplay Metcalf again because when teams beat the Seahawks, they shut out DK. You
yeah,
know,
Ramsey
so-
locked him up.
They
Oh, yeah.
shut out DK, but the Cardinals don't have no Ramsey. They had to shut out Metcalf, but then Lockett put up 15 for 200. So, but they're gonna have to sacrifice that again. I think they're gonna oversell for Metcalf. Lockett's gonna have a huge day. Hope I don't play him in fantasy. I hope I don't play him in fantasy. But I think it's gonna be another one of those fantastic games, and the Seahawks are
Yeah.
gonna win this one. Finally, get that one.
Buy-in.
I don't know. This is a tough one. Both a short week for each team's coming off kind of hard-fought games. I think Seattle's in a real tough spot right now. They're
Mhm.
struggling. Russ kind of lost his magic, so I'm gonna stick with Arizona to
Okay.
kind of
Cute.
carry the Hail Mary momentum.
Yeah. Q.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cardinals too. I just think they're in a better position right now.
Luke, how
I
many
mean-
behind from you? How many
What?
points am I behind you?
I'm at so Andrew and Brian are at 18. You're at 21, and I'm at 24.
Jeez.
It's getting interesting.
Where's
But
the
yeah.
second?
Cardinals. I'll just
Cardinals.
keep it simple.
Again, I don't like this one. This one's weird. Just because I'm not completely, like I said last week, I'm not completely sold on the Cardinals yet because I feel like they're a year away from being a legit contender. But they did play a very good game against the Bills, who I know we all think that they're frauds and not good, but they're atop the AFC East right now. But I think I'm gonna go to the Seahawks. I can't see Russell Wilson and the Seahawks losing 3 games in a row, despite how horrid their defense is. And I think the Cardinals are running high, maybe a little too high. They'll come down to earth. I think it'll be another close game, maybe not overtime, but it'll be very close. But I think the Seahawks will win. 'Cause, again, I can't see them losing 3 in a row. But I said that about the Steelers, and they're undefeated. So who knows?
When's this season gonna end for the picks? Like when are we
Never.
gonna end that?
Actually,
20 at the end
I
of
just
2020.
decided that.
It's
Oh.
never gonna end.
No, it's never. Never. We're going to do this in our grave. See you in heaven, boys. doing the picks.
The
Um,
final three pitch.
I just
picks written on
realized
our
this-
tombstone.
Tampa's on Monday night again. So
Who do
they
they
went
play,
Monday
though?
nights. The Rams. They went Monday night, Sunday night. They played the Panthers and then went Monday night
Monday
again.
night.
And the week before, when they played the Raiders, it was supposed to be Sunday night.
well, that's what happens when you have Tom Brady on your
It
team.
was supposed to be Sunday night, Monday night, Sunday night, day game, Sunday night, or Monday night. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving past football, we have despite the NBA season not starting for
Football.
another couple of weeks, we had a bunch of Woj bombs today in terms of trades and acquisitions from other
We really talked
teams.
about the Pats.
We did talk about the Pats, but like
We talked
there
about the
wasn't any.
rain.
Cares, Brian.
Go Pats. They ran the ball a lot and they played good. Go Damian Harris and the defense kind of. J.C. Jackson, 5 straight games with an interception, franchise record, 6 total this year, most in the NFL. There we go. Pats done.
All right, good.
But yeah,
Satisfied.
you happy? Yeah. Okay. But yeah,
That is
bunch
fine.
of Woj bombs. Actually, whoa, big Woj bomb right now. The Chicago Bulls will not extend a qualifying offer to guard Shaq Harrison.
Oh
Whoa.
no!
Whoa.
Oh my
Huge
God!
bomb.
How could they not?
Not
mean, might as
Shaq
well just-
Harrison.
Just trade the whole team.
Exactly.
know.
They're tearing it apart.
But more
Clearly looking
seriously,
for a rebuild.
the bigger one of the day, the biggest one, Chris Paul to the Phoenix Suns. Thoughts about this?
I think the Suns are going to contend this year again. Or again. I think so. The Western Conference is tough, but I think one thing that goes unnoticed with Chris Paul is he was at one point in the year he was an MVP candidate. This past year, at one point he was in that
The
conversation.
whole year he was.
No, at one point. Oh, the whole year. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll backtrack to that one
That's
point.
proving your point even more.
The most recent, he was in the MVP. He was an MVP candidate for most of the year. And the thing is that one thing that goes unnoticed with CP3 is that he elevates people's play to the maximum level. He's one of the best guys to do it since Magic Johnson, and that goes unnoticed. There are a lot of guys that wouldn't be who they were if they didn't play with Chris Paul. Like DeAndre Jordan wouldn't be making this much money if he hadn't played with CP3.
Until
Same
the
thing with Blake Griffin.
playoffs.
I think that what?
Yeah, until the playoffs, and then he sucks.
Whatever.
Oh, the Clippers.
I think that, Sorry. I think that.
Stop playing PGA.
I'm talking to you. I think that. Yeah, I think that he's one of the great elevators. When you get guys like Devin Booker to play off ball more with Chris Paul with the ball in his hands a lot more, then it's just going to be a great matchup. I forgot what I was going to say. 'Cause my brother walked in.
They have a good backcourt, obviously, when you have Devin Booker. I think DeAndre Ayton, obviously, is great. So I think those three will hopefully get some stuff going so that they can possibly get the 7 or 8 seed. I think when you look at Oklahoma City. Look at how many picks they have. Look at how many
It's either 16 or
players they
17
got.
over the next
Yes.
6 or 7 years.
It's ridiculous. They have so many picks. They have so many young players. I think Oklahoma City will be great in 7 years. Maybe 5 or 6. But
Yeah, I think it was 27 draft picks in the next 7 years.
it's ridiculous.
The thing
It's a
about
lot.
the thing about draft picks is I don't think they're much if you don't get a star on your team. Like a
Okay,
veteran
well
star.
you can also
That's the
use
big thing.
them for trading.
I guess. So we'll have to see. But I think Well, we'll see. We'll see.
My thoughts. This was. I don't know if I want to say expected or not, but the Suns have been after a point guard for a while. But I feel like this is a weird trade to me because Chris Paul's old. Yes, he's still good, but he is not going to be the same in the next 2 to 3 years. Maybe even next year he declines. And then once that happens, what do the Suns do next? I mean, Booker and Ayton are great, but they're not good enough to be like a legit contender by themselves. So I don't know. I mean, to me, it was a weird trade because they are basically trading away a few picks and some good players in Rubio, and Kelly Oubre has actually had a really good season this past year for 2 years of Chris Paul, where they'll be the 6 or 5 seed at most.
Yeah, at the
So,
best.
If you're
I mean,
lucky,
it was-
if you're lucky, 6 or 5
exactly.
seed.
Oubre's been around the block recently. Jeez.
Yeah.
But it's super weird. It was a weird trade to me.
I
mean,
just-
it
Del
was
Nader's the
expected,
best
but it was
player in the
weird.
trade.
Yeah. I just don't
Dominator.
think. I just don't understand why Chris Paul isn't going to a win now for like team. Like
Well, he was
should be
traded,
going.
so it's not his.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't understand why Phoenix would want to do that.
Well, because they believe they can win. They want it. So the reason why
They
I'm about
believe
them
they
to-
can win now.
They
but when
won
you-
8 in a row in the bubble, and
That's
they almost
because
they,
Devin Booker was on a hot streak.
Devin Booker is, but that shows they can win games. They can show they can win in bunches. And I don't think Ricky Rubio is never the guy. You need a
Ricky Rubio
versatile.
stinks.
Yeah,
that
but
kind of, with that kind of
They
Ricky Rubio is a
can't. They
playmaker.
can't compete with the other teams in the West. So
So what they have is they
Chris
have
Paul.
they have
I would have thought that he would have gone to like the Lakers to a win now team.
a team that can't like so
Or the
Lakers,
Bucks.
they-
The Bucks was also a
The
tough
Or
win
the
now.
Bucks, yes, they can
The
win
thing about
now.
the Suns was
the
the Suns
Suns need to
offered
develop.
the Suns traded for Chris Paul because I think they believe that Booker's in a stage of his career where he's scoring at will voluntarily, on command, and he's doing a great job of it. DeAndre Ayton's, he's been one of the more consistent guys in the league. He just consistently above average numbers, but he's not on a winning team, so it hasn't gone noticed. When you put Chris Paul in that mix, that brings more attention to the playmaker and guard position, because Paul can also score voluntarily like Booker, not as effectively, but he can still do it. He's got the ability to, and he's just a very smart playmaker. He's savvy. He's good with the ball in his hands.
Stop
And
it.
I think that with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, it's a great match, and then Paul and Ayton will also work. It's just one of those. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna. I like you agree. Don't understand why the Suns will make this trade, because even though they might be a win now team, the West is way too competitive. But at the same time,
exactly.
how long are you going to wait for the West to kind of clear up? Because
They can
you're not-
wait because Booker's
can wait,
really
but-
young. Booker and Aiden are so young.
That's
They-
assuming
Booker's
they
what,
re-sign. And
25?
that's assuming Booker walks into the GM office and the GM
No,
says,
Booker's
we're not
like-
going to win now. We're not going to win next season. We're not going to win the season after that. But we're going to wait for the Western Conference to clear up in 5 years. Then we'll be a winning team again. And that's assuming that Devin Booker is willing to say, okay, I can wait 5 years in this horrible franchise to win games. Or will he be willing to say, yes, I can wait. And yes, I will wait. But I don't
Yeah.
think when you're that kind of star athlete, you want
I
rings
think
like
I
this.
can. I think I can.
No, but
You
so
want-
They
this,
have cool jerseys.
this
You
is
want
what
rings like
I'm-
this. So
No, I know, I understand, but
that's why they want to get rid of him, because
Booker's
not
good.
get rid of him. That's why they want to win now, because they're afraid that they're not getting wins. A star like Booker's just going to walk. He's like, you know what? I want to be on a team that can win basketball games, and this is not a team that can do that.
yes,
That's
but
true.
they're gonna be able to say, look, we have DeAndre Ayton. We can build around you and get more draft picks and potentially,
How
get
long
some
does
younger
that phrase
stars.
get old after every year? When will that eventually get
He's
old?
only
That will eventually-
24 and Aiton's only 22. And the
He's
thing
24.
with Booker
He's
is,
ambitious. He wants rings, and he's impulsive. That's what you get with young guys.
Well, you don't know he wants rings. Young players don't tend to like
all
rings. They
want
like the stat pad a lot more than get rings. But that's besides
They
the
all
point.
they all want
Um,
to win. Booker's done with the stat pad. He scores
The
enough.
the reason why is because the Suns will be able to pay Booker more and maybe
Yeah.
want to pay Booker more.
That's
'Cause a team-
that's
a
assuming that he
contending-
wants to.
because a contending team, I can tell you right now, a contending team, yes, they would love Booker, but they're not going to pay him a super max because he's good, but he's not like that.
So
good. He's
if
a
you're
fringe,
Devin
he's a
Booker-
fringe all-star. So a
Exactly.
team like the Lakers or the Clippers or the Celtics or I don't know the Sixers, but they're not really a contender. But
This is what-
teams like that aren't going to pay him that much money, so he's going to eventually go back to the Suns because
This is-
they're going to pay him that money.
This is when I can agree with you, because if he leaves Phoenix, he leaves Phoenix. That means he's not going to want to be the franchise player there. But when you become that kind of player that likes to go and chase rings, you become like the guy that is such a great talent, but is moving from team to team for 2-year deals, and they're signing you just to win rings. And all of a sudden, Andre Iguodala, the guy in Philly that was so good, he was almost
but
he made the
Booker's
All-Star
so
team one
much-
year. He's now turning this bum-ish player. That obviously, I'm not comparing Iguodala and Booker, but I'm just saying that the fact that you don't want Devin Booker, if you're Devin Booker, the problem with leaving Phoenix, and this is why I'm going to agree with you somewhat, Luke, with what you just said, was the fact that you don't want to be that guy that gets signed by the Bucks for a year just to win a ring, and then get signed by the Warriors just to win a ring, and then all of a sudden you have 30 different rings on your fingers because you've won a ring with every team, and it's like, oh, so cool, but you've moved everywhere, and players don't like that kind of change every year, signing 1-year deals, not getting that job security, having to get free
But,
agent every year.
When you look at it, like I don't agree with this, but money is just such an important thing for players, and I feel like it should. Well, obviously it should be because you're making them like millions of dollars, but also
At one point,
I
it's a
feel
drop in the
like
bucket.
exactly like. Do you really need
Like,
to?
don't-
Are
you
you
have
really
enough
going to
money?
take a couple more $1 million?
It's like
to
at some
go on a
point you have
crappy
enough
team?
money. It's like at some point you have enough money to feed your family, the next family in generation, the next generation, your family,
Yeah.
the next generation. Like they don't have to work. At some point you get that much money that is like, does it matter? I mean, this next deal where you're getting $20 million more dollars. I mean, for God's sake, someone in your family.
20 million is a lot of money, and
You get what I'm saying. You get
well,
what
and
I'm
while
saying.
we're on the topic of this, well, I want to say one more thing, quick thing. It's not about how much money he gets; it's about who's going to offer him a contract, and those better teams are not going to offer him a max. When he's in free agency, it's going to be between teams
They
like
can't.
Phoenix and
Right.
Sacramento and the New York Knicks, and he's
Well,
going to
I
want to
could
go
see-
back to
I could
Phoenix
see
for
a
the more
team like-
money.
I could see yeah, but you could also. I mean, the thing about moving and changing is that you're not as valued anymore. You keep moving team from team.
LeBron
Teams
James.
are just saying, okay, LeBron's been on 3 teams in his career, but okay. You keep moving from team to team.
Moved 4 times. So like,
Whatever. You keep moving from
cares?
team to team, and you're on a bunch of different franchises. Then you're not as valued anymore because there's no security in you as a player, and there's no the teams say, is this guy loyal? Can we lock him up forever? Is this guy going to be a franchise player? No, he just wants to get a ring. He's going to walk the next year. So you lose that you lose that trustability that teams like to have in their players, that they're loyal to their franchise, because you don't want to be that one guy that what's his name, James Jones or whatever his name is, the guy that won like 6 rings with LeBron James.
Mario
you don't wanna do
Chalmers.
that.
I remember.
You don't want to be that kind of guy.
Yeah, but like honestly, it feels like if you're a superstar in the NBA now, you spend 4 years with a team and then you just go. Like it happened with KD,
Yeah.
happened with LeBron. He got his ring, he left.
But
It's probably
the
going to
thing-
happen with Kyrie.
Right.
Like,
Right. The thing about that though is that like look at Westbrook. Fantastic on OKC, moves to Houston. CP3 was fantastic on the Clippers, moves to Houston. They was great on Houston. That's not a good example. But like Westbrook's a good example of this. Moves to Houston, nothing. He's terrible. When he moves to Houston, he's terrible. When he was on OKC, he was their franchise player. People loved him. Everyone was talking about him. So, the moving from team to team, playing on a different coaching staff, it's not good for you as a player to know in the back of your head that I'm going to be a free agent next year. I can just wing it. And a lot of players have that mentality. That's why the A, the league stinks, and that's why B, it would make more sense for Booker to stay.
yeah, I don't want to go in depth of this, but what I don't think will work, like you can just agree with me or not. Like we don't have to get into this big debate, but Harden, I don't think will
Not
work
a
just because
chance.
3-ball dominant players.
He went
And
over,
the-
he went
the-
over last
the player-
podcast.
yeah.
He's
Where
just
on the
player that
Nets
just
or
doesn't get-
anywhere, because I agree with both
Anywhere.
statements. He won't
The
work
player,
anywhere.
the player that's going to get the short end of the stick is Kyrie, and he's going to whine, and then he's going to want to leave, and then nobody's going to want him.
Right. The unfortunate thing about James Harden, we went over it last podcast, and the fortunate thing about James Harden, I said, is that he's just the type of player that's not compatible with a lot of guys.
He's
not
not.
on a
He's
lot of
just
teams. He's a good player. He's a great player, but he's never going to win a ring
Travels.
because he's not compatible with other players on his team. And that being said, you can't win with one star at the same time. So A, James Harden can't play with another star. B, you can't win with less than 2 stars. So he's just that unfortunate scenario where he's never going to win a ring in his career. There's no match for him.
Agreed. And then just one more quick thing that's also not going to work. Among the Nets, the Sixers are also a team that has been on the short end of
Oh yeah.
James Harden's
So no, it's not going to work.
destinations, and
Well, that
that's
wouldn't
also
work
not
either.
even, because they're also going to have to give up Embiid or not they're not going to give up and Simmons, but or
He's not
Simmons.
going to give up Simmons, but they're going to have to give up Embiid.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
again, that's not going to work.
Doc,
That's going to be weird.
Doc
if you
Rivers
give-
was talking about giving away Simmons
if
for
you-
the first pick in the draft.
If you give up Embiid, then Houston is. I mean, then the Sixers are the exact same team Houston was with Westbrook and Harden. The exact same
Yeah,
team.
I know.
A point guard that can't shoot, James Harden, no center. They're the exact same team as Houston was this past season. They're going to be jacking up shots left and right, not being able to make. Actually, they'd be a worse 3-point shooting team than Houston. Worse. Because they don't have all the shooters because JJ Redick's gone and they don't got a lot of shooters on their bench. So they're going to be the exact
They have
same. They're going to be
Furkan
exact.
Korkmaz. What are you talking about?
They're going to be the exact same team Houston was actually worse last season with Westbrook and Harden. So
Yeah,
it's
agreed.
what's
They
your
don't have an
goal
Eric,
there?
They don't have an Eric Gordon that can
What's your,
just,
the only? I mean, the Celtics showed it. No offense, I don't want to offend. I don't want to get an argument. The Celtics showed it. They had difficult time guarding Bam, right? If you don't have a center, Bam's going to eat. There's your mismatch with the Heat. So you're already not going to win a ring. You got to be able to compete with the Nets, to compete with the Celtics. I mean, Sixers, they're not. The only way they win, the only way they do anything this year, God forbid they do anything, is if Embiid and Simmons somehow pull this magical friendship out of their asses, which won't happen.
Nah,
Yeah.
because one of them will be gone.
Facts. And our last thing before we go to rapid fire, we only have 3 questions for rapid fire. But one more thing is the Celtics are in a weird position right now because the draft is on Wednesday, but the deadline for opting in or out of contracts for both Gordon Hayward and Enes Kanter. Enes Kanter I don't really care
I
about
believe
him.
it's tomorrow. I saw some of
It's-
those tomorrow. I think that
No,
was
it's
mistaken.
Thursday. They have until Thursday. Their deadline is until Thursday, which puts the Celtics in a really awkward position about like drafting and stuff like that. So the Celtics are going to have to hope that Gordon Hayward opts in or out, honestly, because then out they have an idea about what they're going to do heading into draft night, but hopefully in. So then they could trade him to Indiana for Miles Turner. But yeah, the Celtics are in a super weird position right now that is gonna, I don't know, hinder their abilities during draft night. So I don't know. That's what we have with the Celtics. We'll have to
Yeah.
wait and see.
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll be having an episode right after the draft on Thursday because the draft is Wednesday. We'll cover the draft. That'll be an extensive podcast episode. But yeah, last thing is rapid fire. We have 3 questions. We'll go Nick, Andrew, Brian, then me. That's just how it works on my screen. It makes more sense. Nick, Andrew, Brian, me, rapid fire. Take about 20 to 30 seconds. First one, after Seattle's loss to the Rams, loss to the Rams, are they in jeopardy of either not winning the NFC West or not making the playoffs at all?
Yeah, I think they're in jeopardy of not winning the NFC West if they're losing to the Rams. It shows the Rams showed one thing: if you can shut out DK Metcalf, the only team that didn't do it and won was the Bills. The Cardinals did it, and now the Rams have done it. And you can shut out DK Metcalf. You've exploited their weakness, especially when Chris Carson doesn't play. They don't have a run game when Chris Carson's not there, and God forbid that offensive line is terrible, and that defense is horrible. So when you face an electric offense and you can somehow shut up, when you have an electric offense and you can somehow shut out DK Metcalf, which a lot of these teams down the stretch will be able to do, then they're a beatable team. So yes, that the Rams made a big point in this game that the Seahawks are beatable.
I think that the Seahawks are beatable, but I don't think that they're in jeopardy of not making the playoffs. I mean, look at their schedule. They got the
Was
Jets.
it not making the playoffs?
They
Or
got
was
the
it not win the division?
It was both. I said both. I said
I think that they'll
I
make
think
the
they'll make the
playoffs.
Yeah, they'll make the playoffs.
I think that they still have a chance to win the division. They have to beat the Rams and the Niners, which I think they can do. Even if they don't lose to, even if they don't win against Arizona, because they still have the Jets, they still have the Eagles, they still have the football team. Like their schedule is just not. It's not very strong. So I feel like after this Cardinals game, their schedule gets so easy. So I feel like they got a chance.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Looking at it now, they're the last team in, but the teams behind them, Chicago will probably lose tonight. Detroit, they're decent, but they're not gonna go on a run. San Fran's basically dead. Minnesota, you kind of got to look out for, but they're kind of behind the 8 ball. Atlanta's Atlanta. The Giants are terrible. That could win the division though, but if they do, it doesn't really matter. And then so probably all 3 of those NFC West teams will make it. So yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, I agree with everyone here. I don't think their division title is in jeopardy, but their playoffs their playoff berth is not. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And one thing that you guys didn't mention or touch on is it really, really helps that how bad the NFC East is because there is no wild card team to be coming out of that division. So it
Yeah.
helps.
There
the
never
Seahawks
is, and there never will be.
No, I know. It helps the Seahawks in that regard. Second one, with this new Chris Paul trade to Phoenix, are the Suns a top 6 seed in the West next year?
6. Well, you have the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Jazz. I think Dallas is going to be really good with Doncic getting some more experience. And, well, that's 5 teams. So it's here. We're talking Suns. I might be forgetting a team. I don't think I'm forgetting it. Yeah.
The
Because
Kings.
I think they'll beat out Portland. I think they'll beat out Houston's terrible. They'll beat out Portland. They'll beat out Houston. They'll beat out OKC. OKC lost everybody, and then New Orleans. So yeah, I think they will. I think they'll be 6 on the dot. I don't think they're. I think they're going to be a great team, but I think I just named 5 better teams that consistently play well. I think when you get a new star,
also Portland.
Yeah, I said Portland, but I don't think they'll beat out.
Okay.
Portland's been shaky. They were shaky last year in the regular season. They go through stretches. It's all dependent on Damian. So the point is, I think, when you get a new star, what?
We missed Golden State.
Oh, Golden State. So no, not Golden State. They will not. They will be the 7th seed. I forgot about Golden State. Yes, they will be the 7th seed.
Minnesota could be a
shut
lot
up.
better.
Yeah, no.
And Memphis.
Get out of here. You went too
Memphis,
far.
too.
Oh,
How
Memphis.
could Minnesota not
No, seriously. Let's stop.
But
They
Golden
have
State.
Let me
Yeah,
finish.
okay.
Let me finish. Rapid fire. Let me finish. I'm saying that I don't think when you get a new star, these things take time. They take time to develop. It took time with the Lakers. They also stunk when they got LeBron at first. But these things take time. You generally see them getting off to slow starts. So no, I don't think Brian brought up Golden State. Thank you, Brian. I forgot about Golden State. I almost looked like an idiot there. So no, not a 6th seed. They will be the 7th seed in the West.
I think they'll be the 8th seed at best. They might not even make the playoffs. I feel
be
like
tough.
you just
Yeah, I agree.
you have to consider Portland. You have to consider Memphis. I mean, they played great last year, so I don't think that they're going to do anything different. Portland, I think, will be better. I don't know what happened last year, but I think they'll be better. They could be like a 6th seed.
Yeah, so you can almost think about taking Houston out of that conversation, depending on
The West
what
is too
happens
strong.
with that terrible franchise. So yeah, Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, Jazz, Mavericks. So there's your 5, and then Golden State. That's your 6. But the Jazz and Suns could flip. So they're a playoff team in my mind. Top 6.
The West is the bottom line. The West is very competitive. Very competitive.
Yeah,
So
it's always been.
it's very good. This is a very good rapid fire question. This is a great question.
I'm gonna have to agree with Andrew. I don't think they're a playoff team. We have to do Memphis, and then the one team that Nick you briefly mentioned. I think you just said their name, but you didn't go in depth about them. Is New Orleans.
Yeah.
Zion, Brandon Ingram, along with Jackson Hayes had a really good year last year. They are super young, but
They're
they're
gonna lose Drew
super
Holiday.
good.
They're gonna lose Drew Holiday.
Okay,
Yeah,
they-
he's
they're
going
gonna-
to the Celtics.
They still have
They're gonna-
Zion and Lonzo.
they're gonna
Lonzo
lose-
played really well last year.
They're gonna lose
he's
that.
a great
They're gonna
facilitator
lose.
for Zion.
He is, but they're going to lose the veteran presence, and you need a veteran presence to guide this young team. Because you know what, when you get a young team that you don't have a veteran presence,
Hey,
you run into these long cold
2018
streaks.
the 2018 Celtics made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, where their 2 best players were 21 and 22 years old.
Yeah.
So
Their center
I
was
think
like
I guess
35.
you could count Al Horford.
whatever
So,
doesn't matter. I think that New Orleans can be a very good team, maybe sneak into the playoffs, and then, like you said, Andrew, Memphis, and then Portland. Damian Lillard is still Damian Lillard. Last
It's all,
one.
but the thing about Portland is they're all dependent on Damian Lillard.
And
It
he's
showed last year. So it's
dropped
all.
but
So
50 a
can
game.
Damian
so
Lillard
it's-
be? Can Damian Lillard be
anything can
game
happen.
time the entire season? That's
Yes.
the question.
Yeah.
But anyways,
anything can happen because you have
Well,
the
that's true.
7, 10, and 8, 9 playing games now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you're right. No, anything can happen. Anything can definitely happen.
Yeah. last one. Is Kyler Murray a top 3 MVP candidate?
Yes.
Nick Sonia.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Top 3. Yeah. Kyler Murray is top 3 MVP candidate. He can do it with his legs and he can do it with his arm. I mean, he's a fantastic player all around. I think Russell Wilson still needs to be considered, and Patrick Mahomes is a lock. And I think Josh Allen has just, in my opinion, I don't think Josh Allen's there yet. It's not that it's not like he threw himself out of that conversation. I think Kyler Murray threw himself in that conversation instead of Josh Allen, in my opinion. So I think that at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's between Russ and Patty Mahomes, and then you have Kyler Murray that's creeping up. But this game on Thursday could be the deciding factor. If Kyler Murray can outperform Russell Wilson for a second straight game this season, and especially in such a close-ish time span, only a few weeks, then we might be looking at a new MVP race. It's all going to depend on this week. I think Wilson's going to do it, but it's all going to depend.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Kyler Murray he's the third candidate right now. If he does beat Russell Wilson, he could hop up to two. I don't think anybody's going to pass Mahomes just because it's Patrick Mahomes. Kyler Murray is better and will forever be better than Lamar Jackson.
Oh, that's not even close.
It's
Yeah.
not even close because they can both do it with their legs. They're both great runners. They can
Murray's got a better arm.
avoid defenders. You can score long runs. He throws better. That's what it comes down to. Maybe it's because of D-Hop, but I don't really care.
He threw better last year.
Yeah, I think so. So
You're better in college.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when it comes down to it, I think Kyler Murray is better than Lamar Jackson. So I mean, if Lamar Jackson can win an MVP, then Kyler Murray should be able to win 3. So
Lamar's going to be out of the league in 5 years. He'll be in the
Okay.
XFL or whatever. He's terrible.
Jay Walker.
But for Murray, he's probably 3 in that list, 3 or 4. His losses are bad losses, so that hurts him a little bit.
So
Who would be
the
three
Lions.
instead of
The
him?
Lions.
If
was
he were
big.
4, Brian, who would be 3?
You could throw Kamara maybe in there in that conversation,
Yeah, you
Running
could.
back.
I could see that.
right? There
Running
isn't really
backs-
another
running
quarterback
backs
I would
like
say. Josh
Alvin
Allen's
Kamara.
terrible. I hate
Yeah.
Josh Allen. I don't
Running
think
backs
he's
like
that
Alvin
good.
Kamara do not get appreciated enough because
Mm.
he runs that offense.
By the way, Luke, Tannehill out of that conversation. Let's be real here.
No,
Tannehill's
I
gone.
know.
Yeah.
Get him out of there.
It was earlier in the season.
during
But
his
the-
run, yes.
Kamara's probably the 3 just because that team is 7-2 and they wouldn't be without or
Wouldn't be
7-3,
without him.
whatever they are. They wouldn't be
Yeah.
without him, and so you can't really say that about those. I don't know. That's 3 or 4. That's where Murray is.
Right now I have him 4, and just by a little bit. I have Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes 1 and 2, but you know what? Right now
Okay.
I have Tom Brady number 3. That's why I have him. I
Yeah,
know he's had a few bad
losses.
losses. He's had a few bad losses, but he's been a great game manager, and when he's needed to make throws, he makes the throws. Kyler Murray also does have 8 interceptions, which I mean that's not terrible, but it's also not great. But I have Tom Brady ahead of him slightly right now. That could change, but as of right now, Tom Brady 3, Murray 4.
Real quick, here's my thing on Tom Brady, why he's close, but he's not there. He's not there in my category yet, is because when it's gotten down to close games, he's lost to Foles. He lost to Breeze. Like he can't.
Well,
he
you can say the
can't-
same with
Breeze,
Murray.
can't-
Murray's lost to
Yeah,
Detroit, Carolina,
Murray's,
and Miami.
Murray's lost all.
Carolina,
Murray's lost to these teams too. But I just think that with Tom Brady, with all those weapons that he has, it's a little bit more. It's bigger than Kyler because he's got all these weapons. There's such high expectations of him. He's got a better offensive line. They got a run game for crying out loud. Their defense is significantly better than Arizona, but they lost. The Bears loss was big time, and then the first game of the year with the Saints. So
and the second game of the Saints. Are you kidding me? 38-3.
I think that at the end of the day, Brady's gonna have to grind. I mean, I don't know what the rest of Brady's schedule is. I hope he plays another top quarterback in the league. I hope they have a matchup again at some point this year with any team with a top quarterback. But if he doesn't, then I don't think he'd be my MVP. He's just I want to see him win one of those shootouts. I want to see him be that Tom Terrific, make that fourth quarter comeback. I want to see one of those happen. Other than that, I'm gonna have to stick with my 3 guys.
I feel like another guy that's kind of close to Tom Brady in a sense of like he's great. He's not going to win, but I mean he might be considered. I mean Aaron Rodgers is kind of in the same boat as Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just quickly, Tampa plays Kansas City in 2 weeks.
Well, there you go. So we'll
Awesome.
see. Can Brady beat Mahomes, or If Brady can beat Mahomes, he might jump into my top 3. You never know. We'll have to see.
Yeah,
That's
it's
assuming
tight.
That's assuming that Kyler can't win this week. If he can't win, if Russ beats Kyler and then Brady beats Mahomes, I might be switching my names around on my MVP list. You never know.
The race for number 3 is tight. We're really we're really seeing who pulls through with that. I mean, it's up for everybody. Huge stakes. I mean,
Bronze medal.
Everybody
medal.
wants that bronze medal. Everybody wants a spot on the podium.
Yeah. Last thoughts. Final thoughts.
Go Pats.
See you Wednesday.
Go Pats. See you Thursday.
Thursday.
Well, you'll see. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes,
I get it,
Wednesday,
Andrew.
cute.
Yes. See you Wednesday.
No, I don't think so.
All
Go
right.
Pats.
Yeah.
I have a message. This is listen up. Whoever actually no, this is directed at a person. This is a message, PSA, whatever you want to call it. Isaiah Thomas, if you're listening, come back to Boston, please.
Please
Please come
we
back to
want you so
Boston.
bad.
There's no you're not
Baby,
gonna go anywhere
come
else.
back.
Just come back to
There's no
Back to
reason not
Boston.
to.
please. Please,
There's
we're
no
begging
reason
you.
not to.
Rondo, you
be-
too.
You would be loved.
Sure.
Rondo, sure, you can tag along, but Isaiah Thomas, please. You'd be
Please.
loved, appreciated, praised, whatever you want. We will give you if you come back to Boston.
You can
and
get a
play.
standing ovation with
What if he wants a
nobody
starting job?
in the
If he wants a starting job, sure. Kemba, sit down, sit on the bench,
He,
get cut. You know what,
IT
Kemba?
knows at this point
See ya.
he can't have a starting job virtually anywhere.
Yeah.
I can't believe he
That's
wore
okay.
the purple and gold at some point in his career. I can't believe that happened. I can't believe
Yeah,
that still
whatever.
happened. And he had
He's
that
been
one
there
shot.
for 2 years. Like it's not like he's been on like
Yeah, but
12
he
teams.
played- Oh,
I know, but
he
I
was
can't
so
believe that
awesome.
Isaiah Thomas won the purple. He's in my mind, and when I see Isaiah Thomas in my mind, I see him in a green jersey. I
Well,
don't
yeah,
see
that's
him in purple and
because
gold.
Just
he
'cause
was an
had
MVP candidate.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Three.
I could have
Yeah.
never. If you would have told me when he was in the MVP season that in 2 years he'd be wearing the purple and gold, I would have punched you in the mouth. I'd be like, no
Yeah.
way. Idiot.
Isaiah Thomas.
Cleveland too, Washington,
Please.
like
Yeah.
he went everywhere.
The Nuggets,
Denver, yeah. Phoenix, the
Uh,
Kings.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
been
jeez.
he's been around. He's been around.
yeah.
But yeah, that's all we
Isaiah,
have.
If you
Nisha.
if you by any chance happen to see this, please do
Please.
us all a
If
favor.
Isaiah Thomas is watching this, if any sports player watches this, I've accomplished my goal. Get a
Yeah.
sports guy to listen to me.
Hey, I've played sports before and I'm watching it.
Shut up,
Hey.
Luke. You don't
Professional.
count. Freaking
Oh,
moron.
okay. Sorry.
Nick,
but
aren't you
that's
a
all we got.
professional golfer?
He's a pro.
Yes. He
Yeah,
is a
but
pro.
he doesn't listen.
He's a
But I
pro
don't even listen to
moron.
myself.
But that's all we got for you guys. Thank you guys for listening. That was a longer one, but whatever. It is what it is. See you guys on Nope, not Wednesday. We're seeing Andrew on Wednesday. See you guys on Thursday. Thanks guys for listening.